morning, students. Hope you are well and working hard to achieve your goals. As we had discussed our previous chapters, that what is wholesale trade, retail trade, and both are the parts of an internal trade. So today we will start with our next chapter, chapter number 16, documents and procedure used in home trade. Home trade means where we exchange the goods and services in one country. So now we will discuss the documents that are needed when we are exporting or we are selling our goods from one state to another in one country. Means maybe we were selling our goods from Punjab to Delhi. That means it is a home trade. So in this chapter we are going to learn of the procedure of buying and selling in home trade, and in this procedure we are going to discuss these are the various types of documents. So in this the types of documents are, first one is inquiry, then second one is quotation, third one is catalog and price list, fourth one is order, then acknowledgement, executing the order, trade inquiries and references, collection and packing of goods, dispatching the goods, preparation of invoice, advice note, then taking delivery of goods, rectification of mistakes in invoice, issue of credit and debit note, and the difference between credit and debit note, then the statement of account remittance and receipt of payment. So these are the 15 documents that are needed while buying and selling of goods in home trade. In this we also discuss about discount, its meaning, types and difference between cash discount and a trade discount. So first of all we will discuss our key terms. In this our key terms are quotation, invoice, catalog and discount. So these are the four terms that we are going to learn their meaning. That the first one is quotation. For example, like in schools we get information about books, their publishers, prices, syllabus coverage with the help of quotation. Likewise, we take an example of Bansal Sweets. If they want products of Haldiram, then firstly they will get information about prices, variety, flavors and the quantity, and these types of information is only get with the help of quotation. Like in this image we will see that there is a Goel Brothers Prakashan and they will give us a quotation in which they will provide a details that these types of books they have available and they will send to the school. So simply we can say that quotation refers to the most recent sale price or the last price of the product. Quotation is simply a price, quality and the other facilities that is written in a document by the seller to impress the buyer, and that document is known as quotation. Next one is invoice. So for example, like now the school wants to purchase the books, then they order the books with details like price, quantity and the expenses that were occurred. So then that at that time invoice is created. So in this, like they will provide an order of the books. Likewise they include some expenses of packing, carriage and freight. So all these expenses are involved in the invoice. So an invoice, bill or a tab is a commercial document issued by a seller to a buyer relating to the sale transaction and indicating the products, quantities and agreed prices for products and services the seller had provided the buyer. Then the third one is catalog. So catalog, like students get prospectus from school, colleges and institutions, which gives information related to the courses and tenure period of the course. Likewise, in business, they give information to consumers or to the customers related to the products, offers, discounts through catalogs. So we can say that a catalog is a list or record as items for sale, or a catalog is a book or a magazine containing details and the pictures of items currently being offered for sale, especially as used by companies that do much of their business by mail order. So at that time we need a catalog to provide a view that these are the products, these are the things available in the market or available to the producer. Then the fourth key term is discount. Like in COVID-19, most of the shops gives products at 40% or 50% less price. That means they will provide you a discount. So a simple discount is a reduced prices or something being sold at a price lower than that item is normally sold for, and that is called as a discount. Means when we are paying less amount than its original price. So now we will start with our chapter, the documents. So in this, our first document is letter of inquiry. Inquiry means where the customer has to go for an inquiry of that what are the services that are provided by the seller. Like they will provide a discount, home delivery, what are the prices of the product, then warranty, terms of payment. All these types of inquiry is done with the help of letter of inquiry. For example, like schools, when they need books, they contact with publishers to inquire the rate of books, sample of books, that the syllabus is covered or not. Likewise, a Bansal Sweets wants to purchase Haldiram products. So, first of all, they want to get information about the variety of their products, then the prices, and a document is made that is called as inquiry. So, before placing an order for purchase of goods and services, a purchaser will like to inquire about the goods and check whether particular goods are available or not, and if available, then at what prices and conditions the seller is ready to sell. Means a request that is made by an intended buyer to a seller for getting an information like quality, quantity, size and other specifications of goods to be purchased. Then terms of delivery of payment, price per unit, mode of payment, discount, packing and other expenses, and the date up to which the offer is valid. So these are the things that the buyer will inquire with the seller, and that letter that is formed is called as a inquiry letter. And this is our first document that is needed in a home trade. Then the second one is quotation. So after inquiry by Bansal Sweets, we will take an same example as we take in a previous in inquiry that the Bansal Sweets wants to purchase Haldiram products. So first of all, they will inquire the product. Now, after inquiry, the Bansal Sweets, now Haldiram company reply for the right prices, samples and discounts. So the seller, while replying to the queries of the buyer regarding price, quality and the other trade facilities, write a letter to the intended buyer, and this is called as quotation. Means now this letter is this letter is made by the seller. So in this, the price list, catalog, samples and the patrons are also sent along with this letter. So the quotations generally includes the COD, means cash on delivery, or cash with order, godown price, loco price, then free on rail or franco price. Means these are the things that are written or that are available in the quotation. So next one is catalog and price list. So the third document that is needed is catalog. So the same example we will again continue. Now the Haldiram send book or document in which variety of products, their prices, discounts, offers are mentioned with terms and conditions. So that is called as a catalog and price list. So in case the intended purchaser requests the additional information, the seller may send a catalog in which the details of the products are given. So a catalog is a printed handbook. It is prepared by the seller to inform the customers about the goods available for sales, their prices and the terms and conditions. And in a catalog, the detailed information is available, such as the quantity of the product, its quality, size, price, number, then the code number, terms of delivery and the terms of payment. So this detailed information is covered by the catalog. So this is a sample. Now the fourth document that is needed is order. Means now a proper order list is maintained that is provided by the buyer. So if we'll take the same example, then now if Bansal Sweets satisfied with all terms and conditions, then they will order to Haldiram company that these are the products, these are the things that are available and they need it. Likewise, if school needs books, then they order the books to the publishers. Like in this image we can see that they will order for +1, +2 books and the number of copies are 1000. So in this way they place the order and this is called as a order letter. So now the buyer analyzes the quotations received from different suppliers. So big business houses use printed order forms for placing orders and 2-3 copies are prepared for this, so that the 1 copy is sent to the seller, 1 copy to the storekeeper and 1 copy is kept for a record. So while preparing an order letter, in this the things that are specified is the name and the complete address of the buyer, quantity and quality of the goods required, price of goods that has to be paid, term, time, mode and place of delivery, terms as to credit, discount, packing advice, and the last one is special instructions. So these are the things that are available or that are provided in a order letter. Then the next document that is required in a home trade is acknowledgement. So acknowledgement, like in the online shopping, after placing the order, we got message that this product price quantity is confirmed, and that is called as a acknowledgement that is given by the seller to the buyer. Like in this image we can see that the order confirmed acknowledgement is given by the seller to its buyer, like order confirmed, and the order is made for multi-purpose fridge storage racks and holders, set of 4 pieces. They will provide a date of delivery with the amount, and in this way the acknowledgement is given in a home trade also. So on receiving the order, the supplier send an acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is sent to inform the buyer about the receipt and acceptance of the order. So the order is stamped with the date of receipt, given a serial number, and is recorded in the order received book for future reference. So this is called as a acknowledgement. Then the next document is executing the order. Now the Haldiram company packed the order of Bansal sweets, and that is called as executing. Means now the work is done for packing the product that is demanded by the buyer. So on receipt of order, the seller sees whether the order is according to the conditions, and if it is according to his quotations, he accepts it and informs the buyer. While informing, all the conditions are again repeated so that there is no mistake or omission, and if there is any mistake, it can be easily corrected at that time. So that is why the executing the order letter is issued by the seller to the buyer for confirmation of the order. Next one is trade inquiries and references. For example, if Haldiram company has to send the order to Bansal Sweets, then they will see the reaction of customers, nearby shops, public, and the bank statements. So in this age, generally goods are sold in credit, so the financial credibility of the existing customers is determined on the basis of their prior dealings. So the financial credibility is required that to inquire the trade reference, inquiries from banks, inquiries from other businessmen, by mercantile information bureaus, then chambers of commerce and a trade association, or by a personal interview and inspection of balance sheet. So whenever we go for a credit based sales, we need a trade inquiries. Like in this example, now the Haldiram company go for a trade inquiries and references from the bank statements of Bansal Sweets or from the another businessmen or neighborhood shops, so that they know that the Bansal Sweets pay their amount of the products that they will order. So that is called as a trade inquiry and a references. Then the next one is collection and packing of goods. So for example, like in the online shopping, we see the order is properly packed in cartons. Likewise, big business houses also used these cartons to pack the material of the customer. So after satisfaction about the economic and the financial credibility of the customers in trade inquiries, the order is recorded in the book called order received book, and the goods are sent to dispatcher for dispatch. So the dispatcher, after prescribed packing, arranges to send it to the customer. Means simply in this or at that time a proper packing of the goods are done. Then the next one is dispatching of goods. Means now the goods are dispatched and that is available, or that is go and send to the buyer. So if the buyer has given any instructions regarding delivery, the goods will be sent accordingly. So the mode of transport is chosen according to the length of destination. Generally, the goods are sent through road like tongas, railways, buses, then trucks that are needed for sending the goods from seller to the buyer, and this is needed in a dispatching of goods. After dispatching of goods, our next document is invoice. So this is a sample of companies that issued a invoice. Like in this, we see that the invoice number, date, customer ID, terms and conditions, the name of a buyer, its company name, address, city, phone, email address, all are written in a invoice. So first of all, we will take an example in the invoice that the Haldiram company makes bill in detail where prices, products, quantity. If the discount is available, then the discount is written. Then delivery timings, offers, all is mentioned in detail and sent to Bansal Sweets, and that is called as a invoice. Means a proper detail of the order is written, and at that time we will write that the order is dispatched. So an invoice is a written document sent by the seller to the buyer stating there in the quantity and quality of goods sent, their prices, expenses incurred by him on behalf of the buyer, and other such particulars. All are written in a invoice. So simply an invoice that is given by the seller to the buyer, means the invoice is prepared by the seller and sent it into the buyer. So in the invoice, it includes name of the purchaser along with its address, name and place of the seller, then a telephone number and the telegraphic address, order number, invoice number, dispatch date, rate of the goods that are dispatched, and the total value is also mentioned. Then after that, rate of trade discount, expenses incurred, the mode of dispatching goods, advance received, then the net amount payable by the buyer, and the signature destination of signatory. So all this information is written in a invoice. Like in this image, we can see that the order is placed. So in this terms like payment within 10 days, invoice number, order number, telephone number, code, all is mentioned in the invoice, in which the order of the books, then the discount, expenses are also mentioned, and the total amount is, or the total value is also provided, that is paid by the buyer. So in this way the invoice is made. So after that we have a kinds of invoice also, like a loco invoice, value up to station invoice, value invoice on station, value and freight in invoice, value freight and insurance covered invoice, invoice without expenses. Means these kinds of invoices that are prepared by the sellers. Like loco invoice means a simple invoice that is prepared by the seller and given to the buyer. Next, value up to station invoice means a station charges is also included in that invoice. After that, value in invoice on station means the things that are required in this all are mentioned. Freight, insurance charges, maybe invoice without expenses also prepared by the seller, depending upon the conditions, terms and conditions that are firstly discussed. After the invoice, the next one is advice note. So in the advice note, this is a sample of the advice note that are made by the companies or the sellers, in which again the details of the buyers, the article number, description, serial number is also given. So first of all, we know the meaning that what is advice note. Like in the online shopping, we got these types of messages. This is like an advice note. Like the order shipped, they will provide a buyer number, the order number, and from where that the order is dispatched, that number, and when it is reached. So after receiving the order or after arriving the order will be delivered and the amount that is paid by the customer. So in this way, these are the messages that are provided time to time, and this is called as the advice note. So in business, a document is sent because the orders are large, and these types of messages are not to be taken in a big or a large type of documents or the large types of orders. So the seller sends a letter of advice to buyer for information about the goods sent. The main aim of this letter is that the buyer should come to know when the goods left the places of seller, so that he may arrange to receive the goods in advance. So the railway receipt is sent along with this letter. Then the next one is taking delivery of goods. Means now on receipt of railway receipt, buyer himself or through one of his agents takes the delivery of goods by handling the railway receipt to the railway authority. If the goods are not in a good condition, he should get the certificate from the concerned officer for recovering losses. So this is called as a taking delivery of goods. Means now the goods are delivered and the buyer is ready to get his products. So after that, we have a rectification of mistakes in invoice. So if any of the mistake that is written in an invoice, then a new letter is issued that is called as the rectification of mistakes in invoice. For example, like Bansal Sweets gives order of 200 packs of namkeen to Haldiram company, but they send only 100 packs. So this is called as a mistake, and in this rectification of mistake in invoice is issued by the buyer. So on receipt of goods, the goods are checked with the invoice or order. Often there are many mistakes in sending or packing the goods. Sometimes the goods sent may be of another quality than that demanded. Mistakes in calculation, proper rate, or the calculation of expenses and totaling. Maybe in case of any mistake in invoice, the buyer sends a written complaint to the seller so that the seller may consider it, and after this the credit note or a debit note are written. So the credit note is if upon a mistake in invoice more amount is written, then the seller writes a credit note to a buyer. By this letter, he informed the buyer that the amount is adjusted and credited to account So this letter of credit is written in red ink. So it includes the following circumstances, like when some goods have been sent but their payment has been received, when the total of invoice is more than the actual, when the higher rates are charged, or when some goods are returned due to damage, when the seller allows a special discount to a customer due to some reason, or when the amount of discount is less than what it should be, or maybe when the goods actually sent are less than the quantity mentioned in the invoice. So in these types of cases or circumstances, the seller writes a credit note to the buyer with a red ink in which the details are mentioned. Like in this sample we can see wrong product on invoice, that is of 50 rupees, that is charged by the buyer, but the buyer is not being paid. After the credit note, sometimes we have to write a debit note. So a debit note is also an adjustment letter sent by the purchaser to the seller or by the seller to the purchaser. Means this letter can be issued from any party, maybe from the buyer or maybe from the seller. So it is exactly the reverse of the credit note and is used to debit the account of the other party under the following circumstances or under the following cases. Like when goods are returned by the purchaser to the seller, when purchaser receives short supplies or defective goods from the seller, when purchasers have been charged for a greater amount than agreed, when purchaser has been charged for a lesser amount than agreed by error. So this is called as a debit note. Means a amount that is charged more than the actual or for less than the actual. All the things we need a credit and debit note for the rectification of that errors. So that is why these are issued at that time. If there is no error, then these documents are not to be issued in a business. Now we will discuss the difference between a debit note and a credit note. So simply a debit note is a document which reflects that the debit is made to the other party's account, means the amount is deducted. Credit note is an instrument used to inform that the other party's account is credited in his books, means amount is increased. So debit note is written with the blue ink and the credit note is written with the red ink. So a debit is a positive amount and a credit is a negative amount. So in this, the purchase return book is needed or updated. On the another hand, in the credit note, sales return book is updated by the seller. Then in the debit note, the effect is minimization in account receivables. In the credit note, in this the minimization in account payables. So this is called as a debit and a credit note. So debit note is exchanged for credit note and credit note is exchanged for a debit note. So in this way these both have a different purpose in a business where the goods are exchanged from one state to the another or from one place to the another in one country. The next one is account sales. So sometimes the goods are sent by the seller to their agent for sale on commission basis, known as consignment. So the person who sent the goods for sale to his agent on commission is called as the consignor. The person who receives the goods to be sold on commission basis is called as a consignee. So the consignee has to submit a periodical statement to the consignor giving details of the goods sold, expenses incurred, and such statement is called as a account sale. Means maybe the goods are sent to the agent or a commission, and when the statement is issued, that is called as the account sale statement. So this is a sample of the account sale letter. After the account sale, we next document that is needed in a home trade is statement of account. So in this, for example, like at last the Haldiram company sent the document to Bansal Sweets that the product they purchase, the price and the quantity after delivering the product, which is known as a statement of account. A statement of account is a statement of a good supplied and a cash received from the buyer during the period which the statement relates. So the objective of this statement is to enable the buyer to compare the account with his own ledger and to check its accuracy. It draws the attention to the debtor or the buyer to the sum he has to still pay, and any mistake in such statement is rectified by means of debit and credit note. So that is why the statement of account is needed and important, because it shows the actual amount that is paid by the buyer, and that is why this is called as a statement of account. So the next one is remittance. So on receipt of statement of account, the customer reconciles it. If anything unnecessary is found, it is rectified. So after it, the customer should make early payment so as to maintain his reputation. So the payment may be made through money order, check or a bank draft. So the mode of payment or the mode of payment depends upon a time, place, amount and a convenience, and that is called as the remittance of money. Means at that time the amount is paid by the buyer. Then after remittance, we have a next document, that is receipt of payment, and this is the last document that is included in a documents of home trade. So the receipt of payment is, for example, like if the amount of payment is more than rupees 5,000, a revenue stamp worth rupees 1 is affixed on it, and this is called as the receipt of payment. Like on receipt of payment, the seller sends a printed receipt for it, which includes the name of the customer, full address, amount of money and the date. A revenue stamp has signature of the receiver of money. So all this is needed in a receipt of payment, in which the amount received, address, purpose of payment, payment made by, the name of the company, a name of amount, amount received by, authorized signature, a revenue receipt is all mentioned in a receipt of payment. So the last topic of this chapter is discount. For example, like we take an example in a key terms also, that in a COVID-19 most of the shops gives their product at a 40 and 50% less price. That is called as a discount. Means when the buyer has to pay less amount than the actual one, that is called as a discount. So another examples of discount is like in a stationery shops, with the purchase of 5 pens, 1 pencil is free. That is a discount. With the purchase of 3 t-shirts, 1 t-shirt is free. That is a discount. Means a discount is a reduction of a normal price for a goods and services. It is a difference between the price paid and the specified list price of the product. Next one is the types of discount. So the two types of a discount are there. First one is cash discount and the second one is trade discount. So first of all, that the cash discount is means for immediate payment, discount allowed is 5%. Discount allowed is 3% if payment done within a week, means to attract the customer to pay fastly or to pay early as soon as possible. That is called as a cash discount. So to attract an early payment, the supplier can allow discount to his customers, and this is called as a cash discount. Next one is trade discount. For example, like Amar sells goods to the Vikas of rupees 10,000, allowing his trade discount of 20%. So now the Vikas pays rupees 8,000 net amount, and that is called as a trade discount, that is promptly given to the various consumers according to their reputation, according to their orders. So the purpose of trade discount is to allow discount on a printed price or a certain price. Such a discount is deducted from the price at the time of selling of the goods, and that is called as a trade discount. Means it is given when the goods are sold, but cash discount is allowed when the seller wants to the early payment from the customer. So that is the difference between these two discounts. So now today we have covered the procedure of buying and selling the goods in a home trade, and in this we include the various documents like inquiry, quotation, catalog, order, acknowledgement, executing the order, trade inquiries, collection and packing the goods, dispatching the goods, then invoice, advice note, taking delivery of goods, rectification of mistakes. In this we had discussed the credit and debit note, then the statement of account remittance and receipt of payment. And after that we had discussed the discount, its meaning and types, and the difference between a cash discount and a trade discount. So these are the things that we have covered in this chapter. So now the time is for homework. So you have to write the question answers. So your first question is define the terms. The terms are inquiry, debit note, credit note, receipt of payment, remittance, advice note, invoice, acknowledgement, order, discount, catalog, quotation, trade discount and a cash discount. Then your second question is describe the stages involved in a home trade transaction. So go through with some another links that are available in a YouTube. Listen that video so that you can get a proper clarity of this documents of this chapter, and you can write the answer of these questions in a better way.